Good morning, everyone. Thank you. So before I start, I would just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. And I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and any Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be here today. Before we start, I just wanted to let you all know to have your phones ready. There are a few QR codes that are going to come up on the slides with some questions, so it would be great to have you guys answer those. And I have the clicker. So did you know that approximately 250,000 young people in Australia have an allergy or other allergic disease? Or that 1 in 10 babies born today will develop a food allergy at some time in their life? So before we get started, I thought I'd just do a bit of an introduction about me. So I'm 19, I'm nearly 20. I have numerous food allergies, and I was first diagnosed with my food allergies at 9 years old. So my main ones are peanut, tree nut, fruits. I also have some medication allergies, paracetamol, and then of course our what we call our usual allergens of dust, pollen, animal hair. So I also have numerous chronic health conditions, and I do have a lifelong disability. So they do also impact my allergies as well, and most of them are caused by my immune system. And I am pretty lucky. I am one of 10 what we call peer mentors for the National Allergy Strategy, which is a Australia-wide organisation that works with all people who have allergies or other allergic conditions. And I'm going to be referencing that quite a few times today. So before we actually get started on our content today, we have our first QR code. So I would love to give you an opportunity to answer my poll question. So how many people in Australia do you think have allergies? Now I'll give you just a quick moment to do that. I know it probably won't work as well because we don't have this screen, but we're going to run with it. Alrighty. Over 650,000 people in Australia have allergies or another allergic disease. Now, when I do this, a lot of people don't expect that. It is quite a large population of people. And when I say allergic disease, I mean things like eczema, asthma, and hay fever. They also qualify as allergic diseases. Now, if we do the maths, this ends up being about 2 in every 100 Aussie adults. We have an issue in Australia. It's not something we recognise a lot, but we are the allergy capital of the world. As of yesterday, our population was approximately 25.5 million people, and over 650,000 people in a large is a large population of people with allergies and other needs. Oh, my slides. Okay. There are many theories to why we think allergies occur. How we grow our food, what fertilizer we use, how we clean our food products, whether you're a breastfed baby or not. However, there is actually no evidence to prove why allergies occur. Coming up on the screen are our top 10 allergens in Australia: peanut, wheat, tree nuts, shellfish, milk, egg, sesame, soy, fish, and lupin. And for an example, over half of this list you will find in most of our foods that we have on a shelf in the supermarket. For example, in a typical loaf of bread, you will find it will contain wheat, milk, and may contain egg, soy, and sesame. The first thing to do when someone is having an anaphylaxis reaction is to give an EpiPen and call an ambulance. So many people make misconceptions about anaphylaxis, especially around the fact that it is a medical emergency. Sufferers can die in a short period of time. It's not just like a thing that you can wait an hour for an ambulance for. You need an ambulance immediately. This reaction can be caused by many things. And for instance, I have reactions to foods, medications, and absolutely nothing at all. For example, I can't wear facial coverings as I have had anaphylaxis twice to wearing a face mask. These are our Australian automatic adrenaline injectors. I'm sure you have all heard of the EpiPen. However, I would like to introduce you to our newest inclusion, the Anapen. Although these injectors have the same purpose, they are very different. The EpiPen needle is triggered by pressure created when the pen is pushed against the thigh of a person. However, the Anapen is triggered by a red button on the top of the pen. The Anapen prescription also includes a higher dose, which we allergy kids call a hospital dose. It is 500 mics of adrenaline compared to the EpiPen dose of 300 mics. The Anapen came into the market early this year after the TGA approved its use in Australia after successful use in the US. Here in Australia, the EpiPen is still the most commonly used auto-injector. It's the one I use personally, and so you should remember bleach the sky, orange the fire. On the slide are some key issues that young people with allergies and allergic diseases deal with every day, all of them being impactful in some sort of way. So we can see here that we have things like helicopter parents, packaged foods, allergic rhinitis, also known as hay fever, moving out, festivals and going to parties, going to university or starting in the workforce. But today we're going to be focusing on breaking down 3 of them, which is eating out, travelling, and mental health. So when people ask me about my allergies, they often ask me whether I can eat out much. The answer is no. It's not something I feel super comfortable about. However, I will go and get food from certain places. In Australia currently, it is not mandatory for certain businesses to list all of their ingredients on their packages, such as the alcohol sector. When I was getting close to turning 18, my allergist at the time, Marnie, sat me down and said, "Cara, don't even try drinking alcohol." At the time, I thought I was in trouble, but then she explained to me that many different forms of alcohol are made using peanuts and tree nuts, often in the filtering process with the use of nutshells. Now, wouldn't you think that they would have to list this on their packaging? No, they don't have to. It's the same with things like sauces. Did you know that most barbecue sauces have apple sauce in them? Companies use it as a thickening agent. Doesn't work very well for people like me who have apple allergies. You'll hear most allergy kids say, when you find your place to eat, you stick to it. For me, I know I'm safe to eat McDonald's and KFC, and Snitz is pretty safe. But I won't go and eat at a restaurant, as forever changing menus are the literal near death for people like me. Something that occurs a lot in the hospitality industry is workers not understanding the differences between allergy, intolerance, or diseases like celiac. I had someone say to me about a month ago, "Oh, I have celiac disease, and it's so bad." They then asked me what happens to you when you consume something you can't eat. And of course, I replied, "I'll probably nearly die." They walked off, and me and my friend stood there laughing. It was her 21st, and she just kept laughing at me whenever someone came up to me asking where I was eating my own pizza. This in the food industry is a major issue though. For someone with celiac or an intolerance, consuming gluten would make them very sick, mostly vomiting and diarrhea. However, someone with a wheat allergy consumes something, it would kill them. There is a big difference here. Education for hospitality staff is something the National Allergy Strategy has been investing in for nearly a decade now, and we are just starting to see the slightest changes in the way staff communicate with chefs and cooks. This is definitely something that needs to be continued to work on. I went on my first flight by myself to Sydney at the beginning of July. I flew with my friend and fellow peer mentor Austin, who has allergies to peanuts, tree nuts, eggs, milk, and so on, for our 250k young adults camp. In another 2 weeks, I'll be flying to Adelaide for our school-age teens camp, and then at the start of December to Perth for another school-age teens camp. Although I knew I was flying with a great airline, and this was very nerve-wracking for me though. This was my first time flying with my allergies. I didn't have my parents with me, and I was going on a flight with nearly 200 random strangers. Then add the fact that even though the airline had been informed that they had 2 very allergic passengers, they served slices with tree nuts in them. I think I had the okay to be panicking. Then I realised that I'm flying with someone who knows me, and frankly, knows how to deal with allergies and anaphylaxis. It calmed me down, but I know a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that. When travelling interstate or overseas, you need to be extra prepared. If you have food allergies, how many EpiPens do you have with you? Did you bring enough medication? And then did you think about the language barrier? These are very real thoughts though, often things I do think about every day. But, sorry, my things are all messed up. But highly applicable when travelling. There are hundreds of resources people with allergies can access in numerous languages, such as chef cards that have been properly translated for you. The most important thing is to be extra prepared. Unfortunately, across the world, there is a clear link between allergies and mental health. Allergies are not easy to deal with and often impact one's quality of life. If I speak to most of my allergy friends or my fellow peer mentors, we can all speak about the mental health challenges we have faced due to our allergies. They make us different and they often make us stand out. Here is some data collected in 2018 from an Australian study conducted in New South Wales on the bullying rates amongst adolescents with food allergy. The question related to this data is, why do you think you get bullied or teased? The second highest answer, because of my food allergy. And to link to this, the third largest answer, because I am excluded from the group. I've experienced both of these. I had so much trouble in my life making friends due to my food allergy. I have my close circle of friends, but I know them as individuals and not as a group I met in one place. This is a real issue. In 2016, what schools called a key practice was banned, the coloured hat rule. The allergy kids always had to wear the different coloured hat so they could be spotted in the schoolyard. How do you think this felt? I can tell you, horrifically embarrassing. I remember when I started high school and moved into year 8, I had older year levels teasing me for carrying around my EpiPen case at lunchtime, during class time whenever they could do without being seen. It's hard to deal with, and unfortunately the school didn't support me. Just before we start this slide, I just thought I'd let you know there is one graphic image. Hospitals are not fun places. For me, they spurt trauma, hurt, and damage. I remember my first anaphylactic reaction at 9, very clearly. Not being able to breathe suddenly, my dad panicking on the phone to Ambulance Victoria, my mum trying to keep me alive, my little brother hiding. Since that day, I've had so many struggles with my mental health. I have been medicated for my anxiety and OCD for quite a few years now. And before, I wouldn't eat many foods. I had trouble eating mixed foods like pasta and salad. I was always darting my eyes around spaces to see what people were eating. I still have trouble eating foods that touch. So when I eat my dinner at night time, none of my foods on my plate can touch. It is something that my OCD just doesn't allow for. Anaphylaxis is a traumatic experience. It feels like your own body is strangulating you, and no matter how hard you fight to keep yourself awake and functioning. Sometimes that adrenaline just doesn't get you to where you need. 4 weeks ago, I experienced the most anaphylactic reaction of my life, and I had to wait 30 minutes for the paramedics, even though I was 2 minutes away from the closest hospital. After 2 EpiPens, I had no change. I was getting worse. I fought for my life, and all I remember is staring at the bottom of the defibrillator box in my university security office, trying to keep myself awake. I would say that's traumatic, but the health system just throws us out of the hospital and expects us to be fine again. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So what do I want from this? Firstly, I hope you've all learnt at least one thing from this presentation. Secondly, I want our community to help our people dealing with these issues. There is no local support for young people, parents, friends, anyone who has or knows anyone with an allergy. Many people put posts up on Facebook on these allergy pages about how they would love to speak to an allergy nurse or have a support group. Do we have one? No. What about young people? We have learnt from today's presentation that young people with allergies and other allergic diseases already feel excluded. So why aren't we helping them? Let's build a local network for allergies. It is a high prevalent health issue in our society. So why should we ignore it? Another task that could be conducted is allergy education. It could be done in workshops. It could be done via social media. There are so many opportunities. So before I finish up today, I would love for you all to grab out your phones again and complete this quiz. This allows me to measure some of your learning today for my presentation, and I will give you a few minutes to do this. I just want to thank you all for your time, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the event today. Thank you.